Hey everyone, welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. In today's episode, we're going to be studying a piece by the career multidisciplinary artist known as Alpha Centauri Kid, and in this episode, we're going to be looking at the influences of Impressionism. We're also going to explore the universe conspiring and Mother Nature. So let's jump right into it. So at first sight, we're met with what appears to be a kind of flowering bush here, of course, within this massive canvas. It's hard not to feel this sense of beauty within the composition. Of course, the natural world always does that. One of the first things I noticed is how space is used within the work at hand. We see this solid blue trim acting as both a border and a boundary to frame the scene within. Of course, this brings our eye and focuses within that, even gives the illusion of a canvas, if you will, as well. Of course, that frame is incredibly important here. Perhaps the most definitive detail of this display may be found in the impact of color. We see the deepest blue as the backing here, but alongside that we have this light green, also a dark green as well, and this kind of lucid lilac. Of course, that is what we call an analogous color scheme. They're all three colors. You have pinkish purple, green, and blue, all of which are right next to each other on the color wheel. So that's pretty important here. It feels balanced and harmonious, and of course gives a sense of order to the composition as well. Why don't I ask y'all, how do y'all feel when you first see this work? This deep blue is one of my favorite colors, and this rare lucid lilac accent is just absolutely stunning to top it off there. Perhaps next, another detail you may notice is the impact of texture, right? We see this quite clearly. The canvas is pretty impressionistic. We'll talk a bit about that here in a second, but this texture here, it feels as if we might, come out and touch it ourselves, and I find that incredibly important here. This gives a slight sense of energy alongside the aforementioned deepest blue. Of course, that energy is incredibly important to this canvas. I wanted to ask you, how do y'all feel when you view this work? Of course, to understand this work, we must go no farther than the roots of Impressionism. The Impressionists dealt with light and color in ways which may deceive. At the time when this was created, of course, not the work before us here, but when Impressionism was being undergone, that was really the late 19th century. So you saw things like the birth of photography. You could really notice that you could only have the impression of something to really see what it truly could be. And so, famous artists such as Monet would typically show scenes of a natural world, and we certainly see that within the composition at hand here. We see a very impressionistic, these light brushstrokes, only showing the lightest impression of what appears to be there. Like I said, appears to be a flowering bush of some kind or another, but the beauty is just not to be understated here. Of course, when we talk about the roots of Impressionism, there is another work from the original artist I want to bring in real quick. I want to bring that in and see what we can learn here. Alright, so we got another work from the original artist Alpha Centauri Kid that really reminds me of the piece before us today. Of course, both have that, solid red or blue trim around the composition. Both are highly impressionistic in nature, and both appear to be showing a natural scene as well. Of course, we see what appears to be two flowering bushes, one with these light or lilac petals and another with the golden, absolutely fluorescent petals as well there. Of course, both have that very, kind of light touch of the brush, if you will, and both have these kind of branches that just strewn all throughout the composition at hand. Both give this incredible sense of visual energy. Of course, red is a very high attention color, so it's going to be contrasted by any gold upon that as well. The deep blue here, of course, the sense of vibrance, this saturation is second to none. So in both these works, we have the instances and the impact of that visual energy. So yeah, I just want to bring that in real quick, compare that to the original work before us. Of course, both show that natural scene, both have that impressionistic quality, and both appear to be showing, kind of a flowering bush of some kind or another. We also see, of course, layers to the composition at hand as well. We have, of course, the deepest blue backing. This sense of texture is incredibly important. Upon that appears to be the green, and then upon that is that kind of light lilac, this lightest pink or purple there, all very important to the composition at hand. And of course, this lilac, this light pink or purple, is the rarest color within this composition. So the eye is likely to just dance from one petal to another all across this canvas. I think that's so important to the composition at hand. Of course, that sense of visual experience is always important when you're looking at a work of art. And like I said, we see what appears to be these light petals. The eye just dances from one to another. But what appears to stand out is this strange plane here. It's hard to see exactly what this is here, but regardless, it calls the eye. It is rather mysterious, and we just wonder what exactly we're witnessing here. And the title of this work, as The Universe Conspires, may aid in gaining some insights about the work at hand. The universe conspires. That reminds me of Mother Nature. Mother Nature can give as well as destroy. She can give, she can take, she can, source and birth life, but she can also flood and burn things down as well. So there is this kind of dual nature to Mother Nature, if you will, where you have the hand that gives and the hand that takes away. So perhaps the universe conspire may be pointing towards that, although it's hard to say with absolute certainty. But regardless of such speculation, I want to ask all, what do y'all see when you view this work, or what exactly do you think this composition may mean in some way or another? Of course, it is highly abstract, so abstract works don't typically have any set meaning, so it is left to kind of subjective interpretation, if you will. But regardless of our speculation, the nativity of the natural realm is a beautiful world not to be understated lightly. Of course, the work before us appears to be a digital painting, so just painstakingly painted in a digital canvas there. The attention to detail is second to none. We have that incredible sense of texture, the way in which these colors mix, all very important when we're looking at this work, and I really hope you'll enjoy it today. Alpha Centauri Kid has been featured everywhere from Christie's to Super Rare, so many different platforms that has hosted this artist, so just a blessing to be able to study this and elevate this artist a bit more as well. Really hope y'all enjoyed. If y'all did, go check out the original artist Alpha Centauri Kid, doing some amazing stuff in the world of the digital illustration, digital painting, as well as other mediums such as digital editing as well. So yeah, we talked about so many different things, from the roots of Impressionism, the sense of color, the sense of texture, the dance of the eye from petal to petal. Of course, this deep blue, absolutely love to see it here, but like I said, I really hope y'all enjoy it. If y'all did, go check out the original artist, Alpha Centauri Kid, like I said, doing some amazing stuff. My name's Apollo, this was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.